Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring, and another video in which I look at Warhammer 40,000 Conquest magazine. For those of you who don't know, this is a Partworks magazine from Hachette Publishing and Games Workshop, and it comes out every week and is priced at $7.99. As a subscriber, I get 4 issues once a month in a bundle, and this is the last issue, issue 34, from my most recent bundle. It comes with some cool miniatures, and we're going to have a look at those first. So here we are. This is the frame of miniatures. You get 3 bases, obviously, for them, because there's 3 miniatures on here. And this is one of the frames from the Dark Imperium starter set. Dark Imperium is one of 3 starter sets for getting into Warhammer 40,000. There's a very small set called First Strike, which is a very small introduction to the game. Is perfect sort of pocket money level to give people a taste of what it's all about. Then there is No Fear, which is a mid-range product. I believe it's £50 and gives you a lot more of everything. And then there is Dark Imperium, which is the full introductory experience. It retails for £95. It includes the hardback rules book and 2 full armies of Death Guard and Ultramarines. These are 3 of the heroes from the Death Guard faction. There is a Plaguecaster, a Blightbringer, and then there's like some sort of hero captain, unit captain or something. Not sure exactly what he is. And also, I think there's a few bits and bobs on here that are for miniatures that are in the Dark Imperium box set, because obviously what they've done with Warhammer 40,000 Conquest is they haven't reframed things. They haven't made molds to specifically produce products for the magazine. They are recycling existing miniatures as they are sold. And because this is from a starter set, they've broken up a starter set, and a few bits on this frame may not actually be relevant to the miniatures that are being assembled. I'm sure it will say in the assembly instructions if that is the case. But anyway, yeah, 3 villains, hero characters for Death Guard, and you gotta love Death Guard. They're just really cool miniatures, loads of character. There's the staff for the Plaguecaster, really cool detail, and just look at that cloak. With there's a buzzing fly up here as well, flying above his head. It's just really cool. This nasty looking dagger. She looks like a bird's head. Very angry bird. Yeah. A bell. Ask not for whom the bell tolls. Cool stuff. Now, what I normally do with this magazine is I price up the cover products and say what they would be worth if you were to purchase them at retail. Of course, this frame doesn't exist in this state in retail. You can't go to Games Workshop and buy just this frame. You have to buy the Dark Imperium box set to get this frame, to the best of my knowledge. If anyone knows, I mean, obviously you can go onto eBay and things like that, but if you wanted to buy this product from Games Workshop, you have to buy Dark Imperium, and that makes it slightly more difficult to put an exact value on this. But very roughly, what I normally do when they're miniatures from a starter set is I look at the total cost of the starter set and then divide it up by the number of frames and basically use that as a rough average. Dark Imperium is £95 and there are 7 frames. However, Dark Imperium also includes the hardback Warhammer 40k rules book, which retails at £35 on its own right. So if we say that the Dark Imperium, the price of Dark Imperium is made up of the value of the sprues and the value of the book, we can take off the value of the book, which is £35. That means that the 7 frames in the box are selling for £60. So we'd take it and we'll say £10 for the frame, which is basically in line with what I've said other starter set frames are worth. It's very rough. It's not very exact. I mean, obviously, I could be more specific and you know divide the £60 cost by 7, but I'm just sort of rounding a little bit, and we'll say around £10. And I think that's fair, and that's a fair way of doing it, especially as frames are different sizes. I mean, one of the frames has got like a blight drone on it and is massive, but one of the other frames is quite small because it's just got a few, I think it's poxwalkers or something on it. I can't remember exactly how the frames are broken up, but yeah, there's definitely different sized frames, and some of them, you know, you may price differently to others. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say £10. It is not exact. It's not an exact science, but it gives us a value to work from. That being the case, we can say that purchasing this magazine is a saving of £2 and a penny over buying the frame for £10 because the magazine is priced at $7.99. And here is that magazine. Minor grumble. The magazines are now shipping in plastic bags rather than boxes, and we're getting some scarring. I mean, some of my one of my frames on the previous miniature was broken, but the miniature itself was okay. One of my miniatures had very, very minor bending. I mean, nothing was broken. And, you know, some of the magazines are getting scarred on the front. And again, this doesn't bother me in the slightest. But it is just it's a sign of not being packaged correctly. It needs some form of protective wrap or a box or something. I think when you're sending expensive Games Workshop products through the post, that's worth doing. Here's a cool picture of the Malignant Plaguecaster. Look at him. Oh, he's cute, isn't he? He's got a lovely little face with his little chubby hamster cheeks. Aww. Like him. Look, he's got a horrible gaping maw in his stomach with all his intestines hanging out. That's not quite as pleasant, is it? Let's go there. Anyway. Sorry about that. I went a bit wrong. So, every magazine has a fluff section. We can see what that's all about. You get cool pictures. So here's a bit about the Noxious Blightbringer with his bell. And then we go into the assembly instructions. So we've got assembly instructions for the 3. It's got the picture of the frame. These are miniatures that require gluing. They are not the push fit easy build ones. First Strike had push fit miniatures, but No Fear and Dark Imperium have miniatures that go together only in one way, but they do require glue to stay in position. There's no customizing options or anything like that, but they do require glue. And oh look, extra parts. Save parts 5, 6 and 7 to build a Plague Marine in a later issue. Right, so yeah, there we go. Yeah, there are some extra bits on this frame that aren't being used on these particular 3 miniatures. Yes, take note, keep those miniatures, because in a later issue they'll give you the other frame that's got the rest of the bits on, so you can assemble an extra miniature. So we've got the instructions. As you can see, they go together pretty easily. 2 main parts for the body here, and then the bell assembly, the weapon. There's the Plaguecaster. Yeah, it's all very, very straightforward. I do like that Plaguecaster. I'm not too keen on miniatures that have effects coming out of them. So obviously he's in the middle of casting a spell, some kind of plague spell. I always feel that they never look quite as natural as they could. I would rather he was posed as if he was casting a spell, but the spell hadn't manifested yet, or because that way you can leave it as is, or if you want to create your own. Or maybe if they had made that a separate element that you could attach if you wanted to, an optional extra. I tend to prefer that. I tend to prefer not seeing the manifestation of spells and things. I just don't feel it often works. There's a miniature in the Shadows Over Hammerhole box set, which is a high elf, and he's manifesting a spell, and he's got like this ball of light forming in his hand, and it just doesn't look right. I'm not a fan of that, but hey, that's just me. Then we've got the painting guides. Obviously starting with Death Guard Green, and we're going through the same processes that they've done with every other miniature. It's the Abaddon Black, you've got Lead Belcher, Buckman's Glow, so putting down all the base colours, Mephiston Red, Rakarth Flesh, and then Retributor Armour, Celestra Grey, and then it sort of break. That's all the base colours on, and then you've got the fine detail section where it talks about painting in the extra little bits and bobs, and then the shading bit where it talks about the Reikland Flesh Shade, Agrax Earthshade, Null and Oil, and where to apply those to get the best effects, and then finally Astro Granite on the base. I'm surprised at the moment that they're just saying slap some Astro Granite on the base and you're done. But I wouldn't leave just Astro Granite texture paint on the base. I think you can go back, dry brush it with a light grey. I mean, you've got Celestra Grey now, that would be fine. I use Ulthuan Grey normally, Astro Granite, and then just a light dry brush of Ulthuan Grey, just to give it a highlight and give it a little bit more definition, and that's usually worth doing. It makes it look a little bit more realistic. And then they say they are ready for war, and you've got this page that just shows where they are up to now. It does say we'll be returning to these models in later issues to make them look even more impressive and deadly. That's necessary because this is not a finished effect on the spell, and obviously this wand hasn't been painted. There's a lot of other little details, but even at that, that's a nice tabletop quality of miniature. This one in particular looks unfinished because of the wand and stuff, but some of the other two, you could get away with that being a finished model if you really wanted to. And then we've got because we've now got this Psyker here, and we had the Librarian. We've got Deny the Witch. So this is a new rule for cancelling somebody else's psychic powers. If you've got a Psyker of your own, you can say no, don't do that. So we've got some stuff about that new rule, and then we're into a new mission. And we've got a Psychic Clash, so this is going to pit the Librarian against the Plaguecaster. So that'll be quite fun. And this is the first time that we've had two Psychers going against each other, so that's cool. And we've got data sheets for the Noxious Blightbringer and the Malignant Plaguecaster, so that is good as well. With nothing on the back, so you can pull it out, safely use it without having a bit of the mission or something on the back. And that is it. That's the whole magazine. As always, we'll have a quick little sneaky look ahead. The next issue will have a Primaris Chaplain, which is cool. It's an expensive model, and it's a cool model. Looks really good. And then after that, issue 36 will be paints. We have got, looks like we've got Macrack Blue, which is a restock. But then we've got Steel Legion Drab, which is a brown. So I can see us coming back to our Plaguecaster and painting his staff with that. And a new shade, a Thonian Camo Shade. I've never used a Thonian Camo Shade. So I reckon I'll put that over the spell effect to make it look sickly dark. But anyway, so that's something to look forward to in the future. For now, as always, I'm going to put up my running total of the price to subscribe to the magazine up to this point versus the price of purchasing all of the products from the magazine at retail, not taking into account online discounts or anything like that, and not taking into account the price of the magazine itself, the value that comes from the magazine. It's literally just a product-to-product price comparison, which hopefully some people will find useful. As always, please consider leaving comments and queries below. I do my best to read and respond to everybody, and hopefully I will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.